How busy are you right now?
I am swamped.
That's good news.
I love it. I love it.
The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Welcome to show number 557. That's right here on Houston, Texas. We've been having shows 557 plus weekends. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us. As always, you can go to stewart.com/radio. That's stewart.com/radio, where you can see the shows on the YouTube videos. You can go to the show archives, access any past show simply by going to stewart.com/radio. Let's get down to business right now as we welcome Jill Bennett. Her company is Next Home Realty Center. Jill, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Very nice to have you. First of all, Jill, let's tell people about your company, Next Home Realty Center.
We are based out of Cypress, Texas. We have about 600 franchises across the U.S., and we are getting ready to expand globally.
That's very exciting, Jill. And let's tell people, one of the things, you are a top producer, to say the least, at your company. In fact, I've been told that you are number one in Houston for Next Home Realty, both in terms of dollar volume and units sold.
Yes, I have been actually held that title the last 4 years.
Wow. That's tremendous. The first thing I think people would want to know, especially in the real estate profession, what would you say is one of the top things that has served you the most to be able to do so well in real estate?
You can't give up, because there's ups and downs in the market, and it's not all of a sudden that you can make money. You have to work hard at it, and it takes many years to finally get to that point.
Don't give up. That's a key to success, I think, in almost every profession, no doubt about it. And also, as far as Next Home Realty, give us an idea about the company and also geographically where you do most of your work.
I do most of my business from Katy, Cypress, Tomball area. I will work anywhere in the Houston market, but I prefer to stay in the northwest corner.
And to say the least, it's a very popular area. It's growing like crazy.
Yes, we're rapidly growing up in the Cypress-Hockley area.
No doubt about it. Also, as far as right now, as you're helping buyers and sellers, are you helping more buyers or more sellers? What's the balance?
I do both listings and buyers. I really enjoy working with my buyers because I like to educate them about the process. Sellers are, I'm prominently working with sellers right now, but I do really enjoy working with the buyer.
Well, and as far as the sellers right now, and the market conditions, we're well into the year, no doubt about it. How are you coaching someone? Let's say you're going to put my home on the market, or I'm saying, hey, Jill, my home, it's X square feet and so forth. How do you manage the expectations right now in the marketplace for the seller?
I try to educate them on we are not in the market that it was 21 and 22. I try to set that expectation that the multiple offers aren't there anymore. I'm very transparent, but it's going from their home into a business transaction, and they have to learn the marketplace in today's market.
And there's no doubt they will rely on the real estate professional. But one of the other things that just kind of came to mind, other than if I'm the seller and thinking about how much I can get for my home, how long is it going to take, there's just those practical matters of selling your home, of cleaning it up, getting rid of all the clutter, and then getting ready for a move. Psychologically, that's a big deal for someone or a family.
Yes. I try to make it as smooth as possible. I try to set the expectation that, yes, you're still living in the home, people understand that there's boxes going to be in the way. And I try to set that expectation that it's okay. Your house doesn't have to be perfect for that buyer to come in and fall in love with it, just to keep it in order.
And then there's the other thing I think about my home. Then some people have pets, so then when there's showings, all sorts of things are happening in a real estate transaction. But as far as buyers, how soon does a buyer come to you? Typically, every case is different, to say, hey, in 2 months I want to buy a home in this specific area. When do they start consulting you to get some information to get ready for the search?
Well, I find recently, in the last year or so, we have a lot of people that will do a lot of their own research prior to contacting an agent. They'll do their own they'll go to their own open houses, and they'll do the Google searches. And I find that when they have about a month or so, they will start looking for a realtor that and finding out the actual process it takes to go through purchasing a home.
And I would imagine, being top in your field at your company, you have a lot of people that come back and say, well, you helped me a few years ago. Here I am again. I'm looking for this now, and those sorts of things.
Yes, it's very important to me in my business to have that connection with my buyer or my seller. I like to build that relationship of trust, and most of my clients are referrals or repeat clients.
That's a good thing, huh?
Yes, a very good thing.
So as far as the marketplace right now, how busy is it, Jill, in your area? We're talking with Jill Bennett with Next Home Realty. How busy are you right now?
I am swamped.
That's good news.
I love it. I love it. A lot of people saw a downturn in the last year. I really didn't see a downturn in my business. I'm trying to excel year after year, and I haven't seen that fluctuation a lot of people have seen.
So as far as things that keep you motivated and balanced in your work, to be top in your company, you're probably doing a lot of transactions, but how do you stay motivated to keep going to the next one, and then the pressure to excel year after year? How do you handle that?
Sometimes I have to step back and take a deep breath and remember why I'm in the business. One of my favorite mottos that my company strives with the culture is humans over houses. So it's not a business transaction for me. It's to get to know that buyer or the seller and make them part of a family. Some of them I'm very close with, and I've kept that connection. And some of them I'm very transparent with, and I build my clientele that way. I pride myself in always taking the high road and doing the right thing for my clients.
And going back to the buyer, as far as what's a typical day in your life when you're helping a buyer? It's all different, I know, but about how many properties do you see, and what kind of information? What's the most important information that you need from the buyer to prepare? Hey, we're going to do this on this particular day or these few hours. How many homes do you see, and how do they get ready for this?
Well, one of my clients, I showed him 105 houses.
In
not in one day.
Right.
But before he decided, and you just have to have patience. Typically, I show between 20 and 25 houses. We go back sometimes to several to look at them for a second time. I think it's very important to start, especially with a new buyer, a first-time buyer, is to eliminate things that they don't like about houses. So even if they're not ready to purchase for 6 months, I like to start the process early, because then we can go to the homes and they can start eliminating things that are not desirable for them. By the time they're ready to purchase, then they know exactly what they want.
105 houses, that's a lot.
Yes.
Over what period of time, by the way, was this experience?
That was probably over about 5 or 6 months.
And that's a lot of homes. You were actually counting them. That's what strikes me.
I was. I was.
It's like home number 103, 104. But was it home number 105 that struck this person, or did they go back and say, actually home number 99 was the one.
We did go back. It was not the last house we saw.
Interesting. But it does take a lot, I think, to really know the right home and for the right person or the right family. So.
And also working with buyers, first-time home buyers especially, is you want to educate them. And that there's a lot that goes on with a transaction, and you don't want to overwhelm them the first meeting. So I try to spread out the wealth of information.
Do most buyers, if they see a home where they know let's say you have 5 homes to look at on a particular day, if they see a home that they know they don't like, do you ever have the buyer that just says, I don't even want to go in it. This is not it. Let's go to the next one. Does that happen? Or do they just say, oh, we're here, we'll take a look?
I like when they say, no, let's just move on.
Right.
But that doesn't happen very often. I usually have them, they want to go in and see it. Even if they don't like it, they want to go in and see it because they're here.
Just for comparison's sake, too, as well. Once again, Jill Bennett with Next Home Realty Center. Jill, before we close the segment, what else do you want people to know?
You can reach me at jillbennettteam.com or 303-525-8070. Again, that's 303-525-8070.
Well, Jill, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
As we continue, let's talk to Christina Fenley. She is with eXp Realty. Christina, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's good to see you. So the real estate professional, let's tell people about your company, eXp.
Yes, I am team leader of the Bay Area Elite Properties team, brokered by eXp Realty, nationwide company. And I'm in the primarily Clear Lake to League City area.
So as far as the Clear Lake area, let's tell people a little bit about geographically, in case they're listening, say, from another state on the internet or something. Give us an idea a little bit about Clear Lake. What's it look like? What's the atmosphere there?
Yeah, great atmosphere. We're on the water. So we have Clear Lake, which feeds into Galveston Bay. We're about halfway between Houston and Galveston. So there's a lot of waterfront in the area, and that's a big part of the community itself.
So then I would think then sometimes buyers, even if they're in other parts of Houston or other places, they may say, hey, I want to be near the water. Perhaps Clear Lake is a place for me. Does that happen?
Yes, it does. So we do there's a lot of condos, townhomes that are also on the water. So we do have people occasionally looking for second homes in that area and down into Galveston.
And you've been in the real estate profession about how many years?
21.
Wow, that's a lot of years.
It is.
And thinking about the changes in the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then as you've been in it 20 years, you've seen some things, huh?
Definitely seen some things. We've went from paper and people coming into the office to get listings that we printed out for them to going into email. And
key maps.
Yes, key maps.
Remember those?
I do remember. You had to have a key map on you at all times. Yep.
And now it's as simple as GPS systems, right?
GPS, navigation. Our super keys have changed, how we access properties. We used to have to charge them, and it was a separate device, and now everything's just on our phone. So a lot of changes for the better.
Well, Christina, let's go back those 20 years ago. What was your inspiration to even get into real estate to begin with?
My mom was also in real estate, so I watched her as a kid just helping families. She worked with a lot of first-time home buyers, and just the appreciation that the buyers had going through that process and was great. It was just something that excited me.
Did you ever help her put signs up and things like that?
I did a lot of postage, cutting, stamping, helping with mail outs and things.
Yeah, remember that postage stamp?
Yep,
that's another, let's go way back there.
Yep, we went from postage stamps to then we started kind of email campaigns and got into that, which has become the new regular.
Well, one of the things I think that has not changed is in any kind of relationship business, the relationship still is important, and connecting with people, buyers and sellers in the real estate profession is so important, right?
It is. That's a very important part of the process. Most of my clients are past clients or referrals. So you get to know the people, you become part of their families, you get invited to birthday parties and, barbecues and things like that. I think you kind of know you did something right when that's part of the relationship that you build with your clients.
And that's a great part of the compensation package is the pat on the back and to see people thrive and see when they finally find the home or when the home as a listing is finally sold as well.
Yes.
That's exciting. So as far as someone might be thinking, I don't know, maybe they live right here in Uptown where we record the show, or they're in the Heights or something. They say, I'm listening to the show now. Maybe I need some waterfront property down in Clear Lake. Give us an idea of some of the price points if someone wants something with a view, whether it's a condo or a home. What kind of price points?
We actually do have a large range of price point because there's the accessibility of condos, townhomes, and then large, family estate homes. So if you want a condo, you can get a condo that's in a waterfront community for the low 200s.
Whoa.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it's very, very manageable. Now that's going to be a smaller, maybe 1-bed, 1-bath condo. But it's affordable enough to get somebody in there on a lower budget. And then we have things up into the few million.
So then let's say someone has maybe 500,000. What can we get for 500?
So 500, you are still going to be in a larger condo or townhome on the water. To get a single family, probably nothing less than about 700,000.
In addition to water and things like that, there's a lot of other drivers in the Clear Lake area, and even in terms of economic things that people where they work and so forth. Give us an idea, paint a picture of what's going on there on the commercial end in terms of the things that are out there.
Right. So Clear Lake is home to NASA, Johnson Space Center. So that's a big pull drive to the area. A lot of medical in the area. So it's a busy suburban town. There's a lot of commercial in regards, anything you want, just malls, restaurants, so accessibility for families, it has everything you need. And again, just a lot of drive to for medical and oil and gas industries that pull in a lot of residents to that side of town.
Now, in your marketing and also as far as people finding you were mentioning referrals and things like that, but do people find you from other states and say, hey, I heard about you, or do you do things on social media that might promote some business that from afar?
Occasionally, we do have people from out of state. I just had one from Hawaii. He actually had a property here that I had a buyer that I showed the property to. So he had my contact information from that when his original listing agent didn't get the house sold for him in the allotted time that they had a contract for. He had reached out to me and said, hey, I saw you sold the property, or I'm sorry, you showed the property to a buyer. And I just kind of talked through the process. I've actually visited Hawaii several times, so we kind of had something immediately to connect on and ended up getting the listing and getting it sold for him. Had a contract in about 2 weeks.
So did you enjoy your visit to Hawaii?
I have. We're going back in June, so I told him to be expecting a phone call. I'll be able to have a chance to meet him in person.
And by the way, I guess they have several islands. I've not been to Hawaii, but yes. Which island are we talking about?
I've only been to Oahu, and that's where this gentleman and his family are from also.
So from Oahu to Clear Lake, it's too awesome, huh?
Yep.
So that's the first time we heard about Hawaii, but are there other places that you're seeing?
Yes, so I'm on Facebook. That's probably one of the main drivers as far as kind of social media-wise. Our team has a Facebook page, and we promote all of our listings through there.
So Facebook works pretty good for you.
Facebook works well.
I think that's a good thing. And then as far as you look ahead here for the rest of the year, from helping buyers or sellers, what do you see the market? What's your feeling is how things are going to play out? Is it going to be a good year?
I think it's going to be a good year. We're slowly starting to see some relief in interest rates, and that's helping. We're starting to see some inventory in the area pick up. That's helping. Everybody wants to see kind of what's new to come out. So I think it's going to be a good year.
We're talking with Christina Finley with eXp Realty. Now, we've talked, Christina, about Clear Lake a bit here, but outside of Clear Lake, when you're here in the Houston area, what other areas are you doing a lot of work in?
I work all over Houston, primarily the southeast part of town, anywhere from the outer loop down to Galveston.
And what's going on? What about Galveston? Everybody likes to hear about Galveston.
Everybody likes to hear about Galveston.
And actually, we think about history of Texas. Galveston was such an important part in the growth of Texas to begin with. But yeah, what's going on down there now?
So Galveston right now, obviously a lot of vacation rentals. Some people are getting out. Right now, Galveston does have a bit of an overage of inventory. But so lots to choose from. If you want to be down on the island, there's a good amount of inventory there.
So then maybe I could even get a pretty good deal.
Maybe so. If you have the right realtor.
Like Christina Finley. That'd be you, right?
That's me.
That's awesome. So, Christina, how do you stay balanced in the busy world of real estate? Here you are 20 years with all this experience. When you're not in the real estate world or doing real estate, what do you do in your spare time for fun?
I have 2 teenage boys, so it's pretty much just been working mom, do real estate, do sports. My oldest is training to be a commercial pilot, so just got to go see him do his first solo flight last week.
That's pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting.
How old is
Very
he?
scary. He's 19. I had to remind myself
19.
to breathe. 19? Yes.
And he's solo, meaning that he's the only one in the plane.
Only one in the plane. It was a Cessna. He did great.
So then you're the mom on the. Were you in the plane with him?
I was on the ground.
So you're on the ground, and there's my son.
There's my son, and he's coming down. It looks smooth. Stay smooth.
That sounds very exciting. And then there's that fear element as well.
Yes, a lot of fear element, but also just I'm so blessed to be able to take that time. It was on a Wednesday in the middle of the day to drive up and see him, and that's one of the great things, the flexibility with real estate.
Yeah, and what's his name, by the way?
His name's Kaysen.
And what about your other son?
Braden.
So, does he want to fly also?
He has a lot of interest in flying also.
That's pretty cool.
We'll see what happens.
I think it's good when they're flying in the plane and not jumping out of it.
Yes.
I would just say that. So, Christina, let's tell people how they can reach you at EXP.
So you can give me a call or shoot me a text at 832-643-7451. Find me Bay Area Elite Properties.com and on Facebook, 832-643-7451.
Just curious, do you have any desire to fly a plane?
No.
Neither do I. Christina, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Let's talk to Brandy Weibel. She is with Keller Williams. Oh, yeah, in the Woodlands. Hey, Brandy, welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Everything's good over here. So let's tell people, there you are with Keller Williams in a really super part of Houston. We have so many great areas, but let's tell people about Keller Williams in the Woodlands.
Keller Williams The Woodlands has about 480 agents.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a lot. But we have some of the top teams in the whole greater Houston area. So I'm super proud of that. And that includes luxury agents as well. So wealth of knowledge in that building. I love being there.
A lot to learn. In fact, all 480 agents wanted to be on the show, but we wanted you, Brandy.
I'm glad to be here.
It's awesome. So let's tell people, there you are up in the Woodlands. If someone hasn't heard of the Woodlands and they're listening from afar, how would you describe the Woodlands? Because it really has a lot to offer.
I would say the Woodlands is a unique little bubble. I mean, when you come into the Woodlands, you're safe. You can shop. You have the waterway there. You can walk. You can stroll. There's so many trails. It's very unique. You're not going to find another area like that. The children are outside walking to school. There's trails behind every home. I believe there's more statues built in per capita in the Woodlands than any other place. So it's a very unique place to live.
I never heard about the statues, but
they're everywhere.
It has a lot of great amenities, as you're saying. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
And then the water elements, the waterway, and that. But Lake Conroe, would that be considered in the Woodlands? Because there's a lake. If you're not from Houston, we have a big lake called Lake Conroe, not far.
Yes, we have Lake Woodlands, and then we also have Lake Conroe. And I kind of think they all tend to bleed together. That's why we call it Keller Williams, the Woodlands, and Magnolia. It's a big area out there, small community in a large area.
Well, here you are in the real estate profession. What was the thing that brought you into real estate where you said, man, that's going to be a good thing for me to do?
Well, it's funny. My grandmother, who raised me, was a rancher's wife and a realtor. She worked for Hollis Bell Realty in Crockett, Texas, and I grew up in her office having to work every summer, and I loved it. So I knew immediately I wanted to do something with real estate because her funeral was the biggest one I've ever been to because she had impacted so many lives. I just wanted to emulate her. I always knew that.
And you said something I think really important there for all real estate professionals, even people in the title, mortgage. You're impacting people's lives,
yes,
in a memorable way for years to come.
Yes. I mean, it could be their biggest purchase of their life. You never know. It's where their kids are going to grow up. It's where they're, could have their farm, which is their livelihood. There's a lot tied to real estate. People don't really understand and think about that.
And before we started recording, we were talking a little bit, and you mentioned in your life there's an equestrian element, perhaps even in the real estate world. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So I grew up on a ranch in East Texas, and I've recently partnered with Chase Harville, and we're on a team together. He was an Arabian horse trainer prior to getting into real estate, and we just hit it off immediately and work very well together. So we specialize in equestrian properties as well as luxury properties, residential, and farm and ranch.
So when we think about what are the components of an equestrian property, other than that there's probably at least one horse there somewhere, right?
Honestly, there's a lot to it. So you're going to have barns. You might have an arena. You'll have stalls. You'll have, a tack room. There's a lot more than you would think. Typically, you're going to have a really well-built barn or a few of them. Sometimes we see many, 4 or 5. Just depends on the property and how large it is.
So that someone that has horses, 1 or 2, maybe more, they'll have specific needs, and that's where your experience, you and Chase, where you can match that up to let them know what's available. Perhaps there's something not available, but there's land to make it happen by building certain structures.
Sure. So it's not only helping buyers find that right property, but we also help the sellers because of our knowledge in that world. I mean, he's got the Arabian world and I have the farm and ranch world. We have a lot of contacts out there. We can spread that information around and find you the right buyer.
And when we talk about farm and ranch, give us a peek into that world.
Well, I'll put it in perspective. I did appraisals before I got into real estate, and it was 2,000 acre plus tracts of land because I did primarily conservation easement appraisals. So that's a large tract of land. That would be a ranch. Some people call their 5 acres a ranch, and I love a little 5 acre property. Do not get me wrong. But when you're going to use that to work and live, that's your business. That's your business. So when you get into large tracts of land, you're going to have a business essentially. So you've got equipment, you've got barns, you might have more than one home. Oftentimes you do because you'll have your workers need to have a place to stay as well. So there's just a lot to it, but farm and ranch can mean a lot of things. So
right. And I think also for people that might be listening outside of Houston, there's a lot of land that's still around. Yes, we're growing. We could think about the years here in Houston, Texas, and when I say Houston, the surrounding areas as well, where we've talked about a lot on this show about the growth, people coming from all these places. You would think it would be filled up.
It's not.
But it's not.
It's not. You have some great little pockets. I've seen some in Cypress, Magnolia. We have some currently. There's Cleveland. You have Plantersville, Anderson, Hockley. There's a lot of areas just outside of the city that still have quite large tracts of land. And some of them in Magnolia are so close to Woodlands Parkway, you would just be amazed.
And that sounds like all the makings of a tremendous location.
Yes. Location.
All they have to do is call Brandy Weibel.
That's it.
Just
call me.
It's very simple. So, and going back to all the things that can be had, you have water elements. We have space in the area that we're talking about. Again, kind of north. We call it northwest of Houston. Mm-hmm. So all these things are available for people that are in the market for large spaces. But you mentioned, was it 200 acres that you were a commercial appraiser?
Well, usually around 2,000.
2,000. Okay. So how do you approach that? Just out of curiosity, that's a lot of acres. I mean, how do you?
Well, it used to not be that uncommon, but you actually get to go further back You at the time, and I don't know what it is anymore because I've been out of it for a long time, but we could go back as far as 5 years on a track that large because it's kind of an anomaly. Those sales don't happen super often. So you can have one joker really mess your comps up, let me tell you, because you don't have a lot of them. But they tend to all go together. So I did a lot of them in Leon County. I don't know if you're familiar
Where's
with
that?
Centerville, Buffalo, Marquez. That's Leon County, all right, on the Trinity River. And there's a lot of land out there. There still is. And I'd love to sell you some.
I think I'd buy some of that land, and for all the shows, the streaming shows and movies, I bet there's a market for people that want to film their epic dramas on land like that.
I'm sure there is. I don't know anyone that wants to film, but if there's somebody out there that's looking for it, I can help them find the right rancher that might let them.
No doubt about it. And then also working with Chase. Now, I remember Chase. In fact, I think he was on the show.
He was.
And we talked about the horses. And when we think about equestrian and horses, you mentioned the Arabian horse. There's all kinds of horses, isn't there?
There are.
Now, did you ever have a horse?
I had several. I had a paint that I loved. His name was Cash. But I had several. We sold a lot of them, so I couldn't get too attached to too many of them. My grandpa would sell them. But Cash was my favorite.
And Cash, what you say it was a paint. What is that one where they're spotted?
They're spotted.
I think I like the spotted ones like that.
They're pretty.
But then again, the Arabians, I remember seeing pictures where
black.
they're black and they're gleaming and they're waxed.
Quite large. Yes.
It's a bigger horse.
It's a bigger horse and they're beautiful.
Well, when we talk about real estate on this show, here in Texas, there are a lot of people that love horses, who doesn't, but also a lot of people that have horses. And I bet there's people that move from other places to get land where they can have a horse.
Absolutely. People move here from California and, other states, but I'll say California because I'm working with some right now. But people will move from other states because they have this dream of having just a slower paced life and some land. And, you hear the egg prices are high. Everybody wants some chickens, but you need a place where you can put them. So that's where we come in.
That's where right. We need land. You can do it right here in Texas. So as far as marketing with social media, I'm imagining you use the various platforms. What's your favorite social and most effective platform for social media?
Honestly, my favorite is Instagram, but my most I have more followers, I should say, on Facebook. But Instagram is probably my favorite, and I have generated more leads out of Instagram. It's interesting.
Sounds good to me. Well, Brandy, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
You can contact me, Brandy Weibel, at 936-222-0827. And my email address is brandyweibel, and that's with 2 Y's, at kw.com. 936-222-0827.
Thanks for being with us, Brandy.
Thank you.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is once again with Stewart Insurance, John Bramlett. John, welcome to the show.
Howdy, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Well, here we are. Did you ride your horse here today? We talked.
Absolutely, yes.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
As usual.
Yes, my paint.
Your paint. Well, horses are fascinating because just like dogs, there are so many different breeds and types and behaviors. But insurance, there's a lot of things that we should think about in the insurance world as well. What have you brought for us today?
Well, I'm gonna vary off the insurance world a bit today, and talk a little bit about growth. I spend, fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with folks in the industry, realtors, real estate brokers, folks within the title industry, and then, those that serve the lenders. And surveyors and inspectors and photographers and all that support the industry. And everybody this year really seems to be focused on growth. I know that that's one of the focuses that we have at Stewart Insurance is, trying to grow. And I've been thinking a lot about it lately, and it took me back to a book that we really like called Integrity Selling for the 21st Century. And then they've got their second version of that's called Listen to Sell. But one of the things out of that book is the congruence model. And every time that I think about growth, it always ends up taking me back to that congruence model. So I thought I would share a little bit about that today.
Well, there's no doubt this in any profession to be successful, we must grow, and not just once in a while, but every day.
Well, and the beauty of this is it talks about there's some key habits or activities that we all need. And here they look at specifically 5. And then as those individually improve, then you can start improving them collectively. And when they improve collectively, then that's when you have that harmony, that congruence. And then that's ultimately when success will come into play or growth will come into play.
So, and of course, at Stewart Insurance, growth is one of the keys, not just recently, but it has been since the company started.
Well, absolutely. It truly is. And the beauty of this is that there are elements that we can work on. And there's some of these 5 elements that are going to be your activities or habits that are going to be your strength. And there are going to be some that maybe you need to work on. But it's nice to be able to know that. But the beauty is as we get comfortable with the 5 and we get better with each of the 5, that kind of all moves together. And then that's where that harmony, that congruence comes into play.
And so what are some of the things we should be thinking about?
Well, the first one is the view of the activity. So if it's selling, what's your view of selling? If it's getting listings, what is your view of that activity? If it's acquiring real estate brokers to come and to provide contracts for your title office, what is your view of that activity? Because the more positive you have of a view of that activity, the more likely you're going to focus on it. Or if you have a strong enough why, or what you're wanting to accomplish, then that activity becomes something that you'll tackle and become a priority. So that's the first one. The second one is once, let's say we've got a strong feel that I've got a comfortable view on selling. The next one is the view of my abilities. Am I a good salesperson? Am I comfortable with my abilities? And if I am, that's fantastic. If not, what can I do to strengthen those? Is what I'm doing, there are activities in anything that we do. Do I have a commitment to those activities? Am I making the phone calls that I need to make every day? Am I doing the research on the listings that I need to do every day? Am I keeping up to date on what's happening in the industry? Am I doing those activities that can make me successful? Do I believe in the product? Do I believe in the brokerage that I'm working at? Do I believe in the insurance plans that we offer up? Do I believe in the title company that I work for? So do I believe in that product? And then the last one is, do all of these support the values that I have as an individual? And do they support the values that they have as a company? And if all those come together, then there's that harmony, there's that congruence, and then that's where the growth will come from.
So it sounds like we're asking ourselves questions and spending time reflecting on what we're doing, what's around us, and how we could go forth and be more successful.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all dealing with the challenging market right now, though there's no question about that. But regardless of whether the market is challenging or the market is easy, there's still things that we need to do to grow and change and get better. And quite frankly, the times that we truly do grow are when we're in situations where we're going through these challenging markets. But you're right. The beauty of this congruence model is it truly does allow you to reflect on areas that we can have an impact on. I can affect my view of my activities. I can affect my view of my abilities, or I can make my abilities better. I can commit to my activities and I can get better about those activities. Am I getting 1% better every day? I can affect my belief on Stewart Insurance. And if I do all those things, I'm going to be successful.
Sounds good. And you are doing those things, John.
I'm working on them every day. Yes, Bill.
Because one of the things you also do that people know as they hear you on a regular basis, you're connecting with Stewart Title offices, realtor offices. You're connecting with the community on various boards and so forth. So you're out there, and that's those are the things we need to do. And sometimes we need to do things that are not comfortable to grow, especially on a regular basis.
Well, it's true. I mean, if you think about a lot of what I do is networking, and it's not something that comes naturally to me, but it's something that I've learned to do and I've learned to enjoy. But part of that is, what's those commitment activities, doing the preparation before you go to the event. So you have an objective about what you're trying to achieve, or, are there some things that I don't do well? Could I ask better questions? Are there better ways to approach folks? So as I continue to work on that, then I get better at it.
Sounds good to me.
It's great.
I think you're giving us all a little bit of homework to reflect upon.
Well, it is, because we all have activities that we're trying to do, and we've got areas that we want to improve on. So if we can acknowledge what those are, know what the activities are to achieve that goal, to achieve that objective. If we know an understanding and are self-reflecting what as you said, our abilities, and find out, where's our strength, and maybe we focus on our strengths and we allow somebody else to help us with our areas of weakness, or there's some things that we could be better at that maybe we need to work on those. And then if all of that supports the values we have as an individual, then we'll be successful and we'll see some growth.
We think about growth, and especially in talking about how any industry has changed, but certainly real estate has changed through the years in massive ways. But I think a first question, or one way to ask it, is, hey, what has changed, and how do we adapt to that change? How do we stay on top of it so that we could serve our clients in a better way? But also, what are the bedrocks or the foundations that haven't changed, as in building relationships, as in honesty, integrity, and going above and beyond in terms of a service thing? So there are those things that never change, and we have to be mindful to have the right balance and to improve in both of those main categories.
Well, we've had a couple of guests today talk about that. Some of the difference now is that they'll have clients come to them with an idea of specific homes that they'd like to see, or specific homes that they would like to see again. Versus maybe historically where it would be, I'm just wanting to move to this area. I want to be in Magnolia. Help me find a place. Now they've got an idea specifically about where they want to live, but what they probably don't know is the neighborhood itself. What are the nuances? Where's the growth occurring? Where could there be potential other neighborhoods being built? Where potentially could there be commercial property being built that maybe would change the geographic atmosphere of the area? So somebody's they really found this home they think is fantastic, and they like the peacefulness, but they may not be aware that there's going to be a multi-use facility going to be built down the street that could potentially change that peacefulness. So those nuances are where our real estate partners can come into play, and that's where they can truly be successful, and understanding how to negotiate those deals. And negotiation doesn't always mean money. There are other things that you can negotiate and work through. So those are some of the changes that we're seeing, that there's a need for a much more sophisticated realtor, a much more sophisticated title representative, much more sophisticated insurance advisor, because a lot of the stuff that basically we did before, our clients can do online.
No doubt about it. John, what else should we know?
Well, if you would like to be part of the Stewart Insurance team, we're growing. And we're looking for insurance advisors, specifically right now, those that have experience working with individuals and family, building plans around home insurance, auto, wind, flood, motorcycle, vacation property. So that's where we're looking for those folks. And if you've got an interest, you can reach us at 866-798-2827. You can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com, or you can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com. And if you would just like to be properly insured, whether you be, again, a family or a real estate business, and all that simply means is the plan that we help you build is a plan that makes sense for you right now. And then you understand the coverages that you do have and that you don't have. And if you're comfortable with that, then in our eyes, you're properly insured. And we would love the ability to provide that service as well. And again, you can reach us at 866-798-2827. It's 866-798-2827.
That's what I thought you'd say. Thank you. Sir. Thank you again, John Bramlett.
Always a pleasure, Bill.
If you're a regular listener to the show, you know we have business development people all over Houston and even beyond. Today, we'll hear from two of them. Hope Moy is with us. Hope, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Bill. Good to see you. I
And
just
there
saw
you
you
are.
last week.
It seems like it's a weekly deal.
I love it. I'm going to see you next week, too.
Well, that'll be 3 weeks in a row. So let's bring something forth for people. As regular listeners, they know the contact point, if they're a real estate professional, is to be in touch with Stewart Title business development people
sir.
far and wide, especially in Houston.
Yes, sir. So I am the business development officer out of Montgomery County. My offices are Magnolia and Conroe. I have 5 escrow officers, 3 in the Magnolia office and 2 in Conroe.
And you do, as I mentioned, you do educational things for the real estate professionals and even sometimes fun things.
Absolutely.
Is there anything coming up that we should know about, or should we just keep in touch with you?
I would say definitely keep in touch with me. I'm doing a lot of one-on-ones with our realtors right now, just trying to get to know each other on a one-on-one basis. I always have classes. I'm always educating, bringing in great new classes coming up. But currently, I'm just really trying to get in front of people and let them know what kind of resource I can be.
And if someone wants to reach out to you to have the one-on-one and to find out all the resources you have and tools available,
Absolutely.
what should people do, Hope?
Definitely give me a call. You can call or text me at 346-224-1908. Again, my number is 346-224-1908.
Hope.
We'd love to partner with you.
Hope Moy. One more time, the phone number, Hope.
346-224-1908.
Thank you, Hope. And now going a little bit south, kind of like in the Clear Lake area, we have an office there. That's right. We have Jana McGuire. You have an office in Clear Lake, right, Jana?
I do, down on the south side.
On the south side with rockets and all sorts of water views.
All kinds of cool things.
Yeah.
The Space Center and water and
everything. And
all kinds
fantastic real estate professionals.
yes. We have a great area. If whether you want homes on the water or if you want in a subdivision, we have great houses in that area. And at Stewart Title Clear Lake, we have 3 great escrow officers that they specialize in residential and commercial.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jana, do you have anything coming up we should know about?
So I have appraisals class. So
So there's an example of one of the classes that
right.
people can learn.
Yes, and we have on my Facebook page, it's Jana McGuire, Stewart Title Clear Lake. I always list all the classes coming up if anyone's interested.
Sounds good. Jana, what's the phone number people can call you at?
832-244-3439. 832-244-3439.
Jana, nice to see you, and thanks for being with us. Let's talk. As we close the show, the last few minutes, we have Jill Bennett is going to be with us again. Once again, her company is called Next Home Realty Center. Hey, Jill.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Jill and Bill. Go figure, huh?
I know, and we had Will here
And
earlier,
we had
too.
Will working the soundboard, so Jill, Bill, and Will, it all rhymes. It's all working together just fine. Well, here we are, Jill. Real estate, you're doing tremendous work. You have the pressure every year to be on the top again. You're killing it over there at Next Home. So what else should people know about what you're doing?
Just remember that my motto is humans over houses, and I truly, truly believe that it's an experience, and it's not just about the transaction.
That's right, because if we look at the transaction, there's so many details, complications, but I like that. Humans over house. That's the first time I've heard it in 557 shows. You're on to something. Jill, let's tell people how they can reach you.
You may reach me at jillbennettteam.com or 303-525-8070. Again, it's 303-525-8070.
You know, we say hello to Mike Bennett, too, just in case he's listening. You think he's listening?
I don't know. I hope so.
There you go. Well, hello there, Mike. Thank you, Jill, for being with us. One more time, the phone number is?
303-525-8070.
Thanks, Jill. And now, Christina is back. Christina Fenley with EXP. You know, I've been thinking about your son flying since we've been talking, Christina. That is so awesome. What was it that he made him decide to want to get up in a plane?
He's always had interest in planes and cruise ships. So being some type of pilot has always just been something on his mind. He had a little bit of drive recently. His girlfriend's dad is a helicopter pilot. So he's just had a lot of conversations with him. And when he went off to Texas State, they partnered with a company out of the San Marcos airport and made the program available. There was initially a wait list, but he got in. So it's just the path that he's always had interest in, and finally everything aligned to make it work for him.
Sounds like things are taking off.
Yeah.
It's a
Taking
joke.
off.
You get that. So in the meantime, you struck something on the helicopter. Have you been in a helicopter?
I have not.
Has your son been? He's been in. Okay.
He's been in a helicopter.
So I'll share this with you and the listeners, and that is a friend of mine bought a helicopter company many years ago. He had no experience in flying, and I'm going back decades. And I said, well, hey, so do you fly? He says, no, that's why I have the pilots. So he's got the company, but my point is I got to be in a helicopter a lot a few years ago because of that, and the perspective is like none other. It's got to be very exciting. So if you're in a helicopter, that would certainly get the aviation bug going, and I think in a massive way.
Yes, he was able to recently get in a helicopter and take controls for just a short period of time, just to kind of feel the experience. Flew over me, so it was a lot of fun. I'm living through his little journey right now.
It sounds like fun. Some great pictures to be had flying around in a helicopter. Well, Christina, someone needs help right there in the Clear Lake area. They can give you a call, right?
Yes, Clear Lake to Galveston area, whether you're looking for a family home, a second home, or vacation rental. I've been working with investors for the 21 years that I've been licensed as well. So I love the financial side of helping people through the process, and I'm here to help.
Sounds good.
Thank you for having me.
The phone number is?
832-643-7451.
I like that. Business is taking off.
Business is taking off.
Phone number again, Christina.
832-643-7451.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
And here she is, Brandy Weibel with Keller Williams in the Woodlands. Well, Brandy, as we close the show down, what else do you want people to know about what you're doing?
We specialize in excellence in service, customer service, and helping you find your land, your equestrian property, or your residential or your luxury property. We want to give you a 5-star top-tier experience.
That's what most people want, right?
That's what I want when I go somewhere. I want to be treated like I'm their only customer, and that's how we're going to treat you.
So that is a great thing to do. But also now we were talking about farm and ranch and land and thousands of acres and horses and things. Or hundreds. But if someone wants a home with just a backyard or something, you can help them there too.
I have one under contract right now. We
go.
do a lot of residential.
So that's awesome that you have so many things to offer. Brandy Weibel. So Brandy, let's tell people how they can reach you.
You can reach me at 936-222-0827. 936-222-0827.
Thank you, Brandy. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. Simply go to stewart.com/radio. You can see the show. You can see the tremendous guests. You can also go back a few weeks ago, a few months ago, even a few years ago by going to stewart.com/radio. It's that easy, stewart.com/radio. If you want to know where any of our offices are here in Houston to find our business development people, go to stewart.com. You will find them. They are resources for you, and we would be honored to be stewards of your real estate transaction at any one of our locations. On behalf of myself, John Bramlett, and all of us at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance, we appreciate you listening, and we will see you next week.
When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, for informative and entertaining information when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate, tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance.